So I'm a huge fan of the Green Lantern, as everyone in existence should be. But the Corps is massive. So have you ever wondered who all of these Green Lanterns are? Bear in mind, with a massive list of Green Lanterns that exist, I won't have time to go in depth into all of them, and I've already put out a video with my top 12 favorite weird Green Lanterns. But today we're going to go over the most important members, the ones that pop up most often in the comic books. Now I know that this list is going to be huge, and I'm probably going to miss some, so let me know in the comments down below which your favorite Green Lanterns that I missed are, and who you think is really important to the Corps that I should have added to this list. So on that note, let's not waste any more time, and let's get started with the Protectors of Earth. So we're going to begin with Loveland. Didn't see that coming, did you? Loveland was the first Green Lantern of Earth and was a resident of China. This is before the Green Lanterns had adopted the look that you're used to, and Loveland adopted a more basic red uniform. Well, Loveland became corrupt with the power of the ring and wanted to rule the countryside. Because of this, the Guardians gave that ring a weakness to wood, and eventually, Loveland was killed and burned in a fire by his countrymen. This damaged the ring, breaking its intelligence and its connection to the Guardians of Oa. Well, eventually Alan Scott found the mysterious and mystical lantern and became the second Green Lantern of Earth. But since the ring wasn't connected back with Oa at all, this allowed Alan Scott to do what he wanted with the ring and never get noticed by the Guardians. Well, because Alan Scott etched his own history out as his own hero of Earth as a different Green Lantern, the Guardians never forced him to join up with the Corps proper, and left him with the ring when they did find him. This eventually led to the third Green Lantern of Earth, which is Hal Jordan. He was a test pilot for the Air Force, and when a dying alien named Abin Sur used his ring to find someone who was utterly honest and born without fear, the individual that it found was Hal Jordan. He is probably the most famous of the Earth-based Green Lanterns and is involved in most of the Green Lantern storylines, except for the period where he became an evil yellow entity known as Parallax and killed the entire Corps. He then redeemed himself by becoming Spectre, and he eventually revived as himself, Hal Jordan the Green Lantern, and he got his ring back. At this time, he's currently leading the Corps in the New 52. Guy Gardner is the fourth Earth Green Lantern, and he was recruited as a backup Green Lantern in case there was ever an issue with Hal Jordan. He became known as a problem Green Lantern for Earth and eventually became the leader of the Red Lanterns because he couldn't control his anger. But early in his career, he was placed into a coma when his power battery blew up in his face. Because of this coma, the Guardians needed another backup for Hal Jordan, and they selected John Stewart, who was a former Marine who is known for helping maintain the Green Lantern Order. He's normally the one who argues with Hal Jordan's fly-by-the-seat-of-his-pants manners, but he does go along with most of Hal's plans. This is the Green Lantern who's been displayed in the Justice League cartoons and the Justice League Unlimited cartoons, and is the primary Green Lantern for the DC animated universe. Now, when Hal Jordan became Parallax and literally killed the entire Green Lantern Corps, Ganthet, one of the Guardians that survived, needed to rebuild. So he selected Kyle Rayner as the new Earth Green Lantern, and he gave him the last power ring in existence. Kyle Rayner joined up with the Justice League as the new Green Lantern, and he became known as the Torchbearer as he reignited the power battery on Oa, and he's the one responsible for the rebirth of the Guardians. He also became the host of the Green Lantern entity known as Ion, and he eventually became the sole White Lantern in the universe. Now the latest Earth Green Lantern is Simon Baz, who received Hal Jordan's ring when the Guardians removed it from Hal. Since the Earth Lanterns were either dead or kicked out of the Corps or training newcomers, they needed a new Earth Green Lantern, and Simon was selected. Since he's new, he hasn't really been a part of much, but it is notable that he doesn't trust the power that the ring gives him, and he carries a gun just in case that ring runs out of power. Now, Alan Scott's daughter, Jade, briefly took over as Earth's Green Lantern when Kyle left Earth to go restart the Corps, and she eventually got her powers from Starheart back, so she relinquished her ring. With the Earth Green Lanterns out of the way, let's move on to the more important members of the Corps itself, past and present. Now, a lot of new fans of the Green Lantern series probably aren't aware that Sinestro was originally a Green Lantern who decided that it would be more beneficial to his homeworld if he would just rule it in a militaristic manner. Because of this, he was removed from the Corps for this attitude and started the Yellow Lantern Corps. But after the Blackest Night event, oddly enough, the Green Lantern ring once again chose Sinestro, and the Green Lantern book was actually headlined by him, working with Hal Jordan for a little while. Jedediah Call is actually an undercover Green Lantern who betrayed the Guardians in the Third Army event and had his Green Lantern ring embedded into his chest and depowered. He went on an adventure in space with Blue Beetle in a monthly book known as Threshold for a little while. Sodom Yat is a Daxam, meaning that he is an offshoot from the Kryptonians, so he basically has all of Superman's powers when he charges up in a yellow sun. He becomes the host of the Green Lantern entity Ion, and he's been prophesized as being the future of the Green Lantern Corps. Now, while he did vanish at the beginning of the New 52, they recently found him in the Uprising storyline being held prisoner by some weird aliens who were trying to take over the Corps. It's an interesting storyline, and I might get to it eventually, but I can't decide if I liked it. Mogo is a living planet who has a Green Lantern ring. He is what controls the rings to find new sentient life, and whenever Mogo is killed, the rings can't find new owners. Now recently, Oa was destroyed, so he became the headquarters for the Green Lantern Corps. The thing about Moa though is that he's rather antisocial, and a good chunk of the Corps isn't even aware that he's a sentient being. When he does communicate, most of the time he pretends that he's someone else and uses holograms, like when he contacted Lobo to get Lobo's dolphins moved to his planet. Kilowog is from one of the most crowded planets in the universe, and he is most frequently used whenever they need to have an alien Green Lantern appear, and he's also the trainer of the new Green Lanterns. Often he's seen working with Hal Jordan and John Stewart, and is always concerned about the betterment of the Corps. While he does appear to be a thuggish brute, he's actually one of the most intelligent people from his planet, and he's a geneticist. He got to appear in that crappy movie that came out as Hal Jordan's trainer, and he appeared in the Green Lantern animated series that I wish they would bring back. Soranik Natu is Sinestro's eventual replacement for his home planet after he was rejected from the Corps and his first replacement perished. What's more interesting though is that Sinestro is actually her father, and she's been popping up more recently in the new Sinestro book where they try to work out this weird father-daughter dynamic where she's a Green Lantern, he's the leader of the Yellow Corps. It's a sitcom waiting to happen. Tomar 2 is another one of the Green Lantern Corps members that pops up frequently, and he was originally recruited by Hal Jordan and is one of the primary defenders of Oa itself. And lastly, one that I see frequently whenever they need to kind of fill the ranks of the Green Lantern Corps with some weird looking aliens, we have Barrier Watt, which is a werewolf looking Green Lantern and a member of an endangered species. Because of this, he normally has to fend off poachers while doing his Green Lantern job. And those, as far as I'm tracking, are the most important Green Lanterns in the entire mess. Now, I could go through the entire Corps' extended roster and the ones who got to star in their own books, but most of those guys are kind of either gone or disappeared from the books entirely. And the Guardians, they were good, turned into bad guys, turned into good guys, turned into bad guys, now we have new Guardians. That's a video all in itself. So let me know in the comments down below if I missed any more of the important Green Lanterns, and if you got a little bit of spare time, go check out my 12 weirdest Green Lanterns video that came out earlier. I'm Benny for Comicstorian, and if you enjoyed this video or learned something, please give it a like. I'll see you guys next time right here.